What is going on, everybody? We're back for another episode of the Double Switch podcast, a very special trade deadline edition. If you're watching us on YouTube, you will see that Johnny's back from his trip to the UK. Johnny, what's going on, man? How was your trip across the pond?
That was great. The British, they treat me real well. I even got to watch some Phillies at past Yonk Avenue in London. We watched the Phillies take down the Braves 7-2. So that was exciting. I got my dose of Philadelphia Phillies, even in a different country.
Yeah, it really is a small world, and it goes to show you that even though we're kind of local here in Philadelphia, the Phillies have quite the fan base across the country and across the world. We kind of have fans everywhere, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see those Phillies hats, everywhere you go. But
absolutely,
yeah, let's get down to business. Trade deadline. Very, very busy trade deadline. Ended up making 4 trades. In the grand scheme of things, that's nothing compared to, what some teams did. Not naming names, but San Diego Padres. Dombrowski didn't fail to surprise us. A couple players I wasn't really expecting. We were in talks for players I really wasn't expecting. I got my hopes up for a couple of them and didn't end up working out. But overall, before we dive into the individual players, how do you feel this worked out for us these past 48, 72 hours?
It wasn't what I expected at all. I thought we'd probably get a splashier starting pitcher. Cough, cough, Carlos Rodon. But end of the day, we got better. We filled our holes. We got a reliever. We got a starter. We got a center fielder, and we got a backup infielder. So you can't be mad at that. We're better than we were before the deadline. So cheers to that.
Yeah. It kind of felt like Dombrowski and his team had a list of stuff, and he figured, how can I get everything I want without giving up those blue chip prospects? The Abel, Painter, McGarry. Those were kind of the names we did not want to give up under any circumstance, and we succeeded in that. We ended up giving up a couple pieces that we didn't really want to give up. We'll get into that, but yeah, overall, I tend to agree with you. We're a better team. We're a better team now. A lot of these trades are being scrutinized for various reasons, but I think if you look at the product we're going to be putting out once they arrive, it's better than the product that we had, and that's big. That's big for the team, and that's big for the playoff chances. In the grand context of this, I think it's kind of important to see what our competitors did as well. Because if we make these trades and everybody else goes out and goes above and beyond to get better, it doesn't matter as much. So the Braves, number 1 wild card team right now, they kind of solidified their spot. The Padres, as we know, they went out and they got arguably the best hitter in baseball, Juan Soto, and arguably the best closer in baseball, Josh Hader. And on top of that, they got Josh Bell, Brandon Drury. They really emptied the farm, but they improved in so many different ways. I think they kind of saw what happened last year with the Dodgers getting Scherzer and Trey Turner, and they said that's not happening again. No matter what they had to do, that was not going to happen again. And you got to give it to them. AJ Preller, they really got better. We got better, but they just changed the entire course of their franchise. And you think it's safe to say that spot is kind of solidified? You think they can kind of claim that second wild card spot as their own?
Baseball's crazy, so I'm not going to say it's theirs, but I definitely see the potential for them to even fight for the number 1 wild card. They got so much better with those moves.
Agreed. So that's the Padres. Cardinals, I think they're kind of on the contrary in terms of they did not really do everything they wanted to do. I think they're our direct competition right now. I would consider them that. And they whiffed on a lot of what they were trying to do. They were in talks with Montas. I believe they were in talks with Molly. I know they were in talks with Soto. Ended up not wanting to give up Dylan Carlson. That ended up being the deal breaker. So they settled for some middling moves. Jose Quintana from the Pirates, kind of a 4th starter type. And Jordan got Montgomery, who I didn't even know he was available, and they ended up that was kind of like a wash because they ended up giving up their center fielder. So I don't know if they can really claim that they got better because of that. When you're looking at us versus them side by side, I like what we did a lot more. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I think we filled our needs, and I think Quintana was a nice pickup for them. It's always good to have a extra left-handed starter in your rotation, but the Jordan Montgomery for Harrison Bader deal felt really lateral for them. Bader has a lot of value to that team, and I don't see what they were doing with that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Felt like they were getting desperate and they needed to. I think they wanted more pitching than they got, and they just got desperate at the last minute, so they figured, this is a quick way to do it. I think the Yankees won that trade, hands down. But yeah, no, I'd agree in terms of the Cardinals, and I mean the Giants are still a couple games back. We can't really forget them. They ended up not selling like I thought they would. I thought they were just gonna, empty everything besides Logan Webb, their young starter, but they didn't. So I don't think we can exactly put them away yet. They still have quite a bit of talent and really strong leadership, and as long as they're hanging around, they're going to make everybody know that they're still there. But they didn't improve, which is big.
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely got incrementally better. I'd say they stayed about where they are. I think they're kind of the same team. I don't look at them any better, any worse.
Absolutely. So let's just dive into it. Let's start with I don't remember what day it was. I think it was Saturday. It was really really strange time for a trade. I wasn't really expecting to get any Phillies news, but I did. Edmundo Sosa is going to the Phillies. Young, 26-year-old shortstop, defensive first shortstop without a doubt. That's not even a debate. 3 years of club control left, 3 or 4, I want to say. And in return, we're giving them Jojo Romero, our young lefty reliever, been in Philadelphia for a couple of years now, recovering from Tommy John, just got back. Big power arm. This kind of felt like really unexpected is the first word that comes to mind, but it felt like, Dave's been looking at the defense and, he was looking across the league, picking out the good defenders and trying to gauge how available they were. Sosa ended up being towards the top of that list, and that's why he's here. That's why he ended up being the guy.
Yeah, no, I personally like the move. Uh, everyone knew going into the year that we were going to be kind of handicapped by our lack of defense, and it's encouraging to see Dombrowski go out and fill that need like right head on, take care of some defensive depth that we lacked. But it's sad to see JoJo go, the Red Bull Rocket. He was a fan favorite, but he really wasn't as valuable to this bullpen, which has been pretty stellar. It shows that they trust in Brad Hand and Alvarado to get the job done going forward. But I think you said it. The club control with Sosa is probably what they're looking at. Having a young middle infielder for the next couple of years, when the rest of those guys could be leaving us in free agency, is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. If you had to guess, what do you think JoJo's ERA was in his time in Philadelphia?
Like 450.
JoJo's ERA was 7.89, and to say that caught me by surprise would be an understatement. I had this image in my head of the pitcher he was, and I thought that he got much better results than that. But looking at it now, I mean, 7.89 ERA, 21 innings pitched. Um, Nothing here sticks out about JoJo. I think I just remember the high power arm in 2020, and it got me really excited from the left side. Those are valuable, but I mean, the pieces and the results, career negative point 0.7 WAR, haven't always lined up for JoJo. To put it bluntly, we probably won't notice he's gone. There's a lot of pieces in this bullpen. As we'll talk about, they kind of shored up the bullpen. And, especially with the moves that they made, JoJo was very, very expendable. And, Dave kind of treated him that way. Sosa's going to be here for the next couple of years. It's a very forward-thinking move. Give me a grade on this trade.
Well, I think we won on a value side. I think we all kind of saw JoJo as what we wanted him to be, not what he actually was. And Sosa does fit what we need right now. Good bench piece. So I'll give it a B+.
Not to be lame, I think I'll go with the same. Well said about Sosa. One thing to note is the casualty of all of this, which ended up being Johan Camargo. I wasn't really expecting that. I thought it'd be Munoz. Camargo's defense, as far as I've seen, I think he's a pretty good defender. I don't have stats to back that up right now, but I mean, when you're looking at it that way, it seems like this was just a move, not so much about this year's team, but about the organization going forward. We got a young, controllable defensive first shortstop, whereas Camargo, he'll be gone after this year. We're just thinking forward with this move, and I was really surprised to see Camargo go down. How did you feel about that?
I was shocked. I definitely thought it would be Munoz as well. I thought he was the next guy on the chopping block. But, I think the only explanation is that the front office is trying to think about this team's well-being for the next couple of years, not just this season. And I guess they might not view Camargo as highly as we all do.
Yeah, I guess so. Speaking of looking forward, that moves us to our next trade. And this was a biggie. And like I said, this was a very unexpected one. We sent catcher Logan O'Hoppe, our third-ranked prospect, top 100 prospect now. Good for him, to the Los Angeles Angels for center fielder Bradona Marsh. Defensive first center fielder, former top prospect. People are quick to forget that. At one point, Bradona Marsh was the number 32 ranked prospect in baseball as recently as 2020. So it's not like it was several years ago. It wasn't like a Mickey situation. And, at one point he was the number one prospect in the Angel system. They thought they really had something. The tools are there. He's a big kid, 6'4", terrific athlete. And, he can run it down with the best of them in center field. It stinks to see O'Hoppe go. I really liked O'Hoppe, but I'll let you start with this. How do you feel about this trade? Because I think it might be the most controversial out of the four.
Yeah, I think you're right about the controversial aspect of it. But end of the day, we knew our biggest flaw was that we have two outfielders that don't have any range, really, in Schwarber and Castellanos. And we didn't going into the year, we didn't really have a sure center fielder. We want Matt Veerling to become a great center fielder, but we don't have to wish anymore. We have an elite center fielder. He can make up for some of those balls that the other guys let get into the gap, and I think that's important. And his bat, it's obviously not fully developed yet, but we have a real good hitting coach and Kevin Long, and I think he could certainly fix that. A little tweaks here and there, but Logan O'Hoppe, I know we're all sad about that one. That's the real loss here. But we've seen it time and time, Josh. You don't know how a prospect's going to develop. You just don't.
You're right. Just kind of like with JoJo, we have this image of what we think O'Hoppe is, and everything that he's been has been in the minor leagues, and ultimately that doesn't really mean anything. We can assume we have an all-star catcher, but until he does it, you just don't know. And I was really split on this trade until I took a step back. You look at this team now, we have a catcher for 3 years. We have JT Realmuto. What we don't have is a center fielder. We somehow managed to trade a catcher who's blocked for 3 years for something that we need right now. And we managed to get someone who has a lot of control while doing it. Bradona Marsh will be here through 2027, so everybody should get really familiar with the name. And ultimately, I mean, these two players have very, very similar upside. I think they just play different positions, Um, if we needed a catcher, Logan O'Hoppe would be super valuable to us. But ultimately, the team's biggest hole for a while now has been center field. This guy's our center fielder for the next 5 years. They're going to give him every opportunity. The glove is a sure thing. He probably is as good a bet as anybody to win a Gold Glove, and we're gonna see dividends from that right off the bat. You won't see it in the stat lines, but it's gonna help this team out in ways that we can't really quantify. And I mean, I really think that they know something that we don't in terms of the bat and what he can be. The Angels, it's worth noting, are not the best at developing players. It's not like we have a ton. We can't really talk. We've had our own issues. They're equally as bad and probably worse. So I think they can fix them, and I think they will fix them. And
No,
go ahead.
I think you're right. No, I think a change of scenery was definitely in place for Bradona Marsh. And what better place to do it than here, where he doesn't have to be like a top bat on this team. The expectations are, I think we're all setting him kind of low for his hitting ability. So, and he's got a bunch of hitters around him. He knows that his role in this team, right when he comes in, is to be that star defender in center field.
Strikeouts are a problem.
Saw that.
In his career, 42 walks to 208 strikeouts. That's really bad. That's Mickey Moniak type numbers. So there's something in there that they have to tighten up. Power, we haven't seen much of it yet, but let's not forget. I mean, 2020, he was a top prospect, and he plays a position that we need. And it's really early to make judgment on this trade, especially before Logan O'Hoppe. We even really know what he is. But off the bat, what would you give this trade? How would you value this trade?
I would give it a B, and I say that because I felt like we could have done a better job of lowering their asking price. I know we gave up a position where we have a surplus, so it kind of made sense for us. But I still feel like the deal could have been done with 2 mid-level prospects.
Yeah, especially when you consider that the Angels have had outfield, like that outfield's been cluttered for a while. They have Joe Adele, who they can't seem to find a spot for that they really want to. Mike Trout, obviously patrolling center, and Taylor Ward is, he's a new foundation piece they have out there. So they had to get rid of a guy. Kind of felt like a guy that we could get at a discount, after these 2 years where he wasn't really performing, and especially when they had extra outfielders, they didn't really need him, but young, controllable talent, even if it hasn't directly translated, it's super valuable, and it always has been, and it always will be. I'd actually probably give it an A-. I think this trade makes a ton of sense. The more I think about it, the more sense it makes. It's one of those trades, and I think it's probably a trade that Dombrowski was thinking about for a long time. Because like Brandon Marsh, out of all the guys, he probably wasn't even available until we called. I think Dombrowski had this at the top of his board, and I'm happy. I'm looking forward to seeing what Kevin Long can do, and I'm looking forward to seeing him patrol center through 2027. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited to have ourselves a real deal center fielder. As longtime Phillies fans, we've seen some great center fielders. We've seen Shane Victorino do a great job. We saw Aaron Rowand. I've heard a lot of player comparisons comparing Brandon Marsh's game to Aaron Rowand's, and I really like that comparison. And if he can be that type of player, then that would be huge for a contending team.
I can't believe he hasn't gotten the Charlie Blackmon comparison. Lefty outfielder. He looks like him too. Lefty outfielder with pop. Good glove. I can't believe no one's done that yet. I might patent that and do that myself.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, so that's Brandon Marsh. That was the second trade. Wasn't expecting it. Third trade. I want to say this happened Tuesday, mid-afternoon. Not really too close to the deadline. Phillies send prospect Ben Brown. a former late round pick, kind of a testament to our player development. We kind of got the most out of him, and he's improved a lot under the systems we have in place. Sent him to the Chicago Cubs for a familiar name, David Robertson, closer who's having just a wonderful season. He's really rebounded from Tommy John and all the arm troubles he had here, and he's turned himself into a good major league pitcher again, one who handles high leverage particularly well, and can handle the late innings without issue. Not much to be said about this trade. Some might argue he was the best reliever available. David Bednar was out there, so there's some names. Iglesias with the Angels, but makes a lot of sense for us. One of the better relievers available. Price was steep. Ben Brown's, I want to say he was our 7th ranked prospect, so another name that Dombrowski didn't want to trade. I think he went on the broadcast today and said they were really high on him and they didn't really want to give him up, but you can't hold on to everybody, and it's that's completely true. You can't hold on to everybody if you want to get better, and he ended up being the guy we sent back. How'd you feel about this one?
I thought it was a home run. Ben Brown, he's had some good success, but he's had a Tommy John not too long ago. With those type of players that have those past red flags, I get nervous about, and it makes me a little more willing to trade him away. But you look at David Robertson, since he's been on the Phillies, he's really got his confidence back, and he's really pitching well. He's got that cutter slider combo that is it's really, really, really nasty to lefties too. I think it's going to be lethal for us.
Yeah, Ben Brown in the minors, 3.27 ERA, 217 Ks and 173 innings with a 1.1 WHIP. He's a good pitcher, and I would not be surprised one bit if one day we see him in the Cubs staff. David Robertson, on the other hand, like I said, he's the closer now. He was the closer with the Cubs. Not really sure how he's going to be used here. I believe Thompson said he's still going to prefer Handon Dominguez in those later innings, and he's going to use Robertson. High leverage spots. But 2.2 ERA, 40 innings, 51 Ks, with one WHIP. He's a good pitcher. There's really nothing you can say about him. Great personality, too. Speaking of personality, the casualty of this trade was Jerry's Familia, whose time in Philadelphia came to an end. To put it gently, this is addition by subtraction as well. He was the loose end in the bullpen, and just replacing him with a reliable pitcher is valuable in itself. I know that he was a very good personality down there for Sir Anthony and some of the younger guys, but the results weren't lining up. So Dombrowski, he improved it, and it's part of the game. I'd agree with you that this was a home run. A+. Could not be happier with this one.
Absolutely.
Last trade. This one was might have been the most expected, if I want to say. Phillies traded Mickey Moniak, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know the second piece off the top of my head. Low A player.
JDL Sanchez. Give him some
Sanchez.
respect. Give him some respect.
Yeah, JDL Sanchez to the Angels for Thor. Noah Syndergaard. So this trade, there's a lot of talk about this trade. I want to say, several weeks ago, people connected the dots and thought that, he might make sense for us. He is not what he used to be. Everybody said that. Everybody knows that. It's not a secret anymore. He's not what he used to be. He used to be one of the best pitchers in the game. After his surgery and his arm troubles, he doesn't have 99 in the tank anymore. He has 94, which is still, we're still talking plenty of velocity, but he hasn't K'd as many people. I'll pull stats up here. He kind of pitches to contact more. I'd consider him probably, an okay 3, a really good 4 starter. On the year, 3.83 ERA, 80 innings, 64 Ks. That's the Thor of yesteryear. I never thought I'd see the day with the way he was blowing away hitters and 2015, 2016. But yeah, he's going to be our new. I think he slots into Game 4 of a playoff series behind Ranger. I think Ranger's probably just a better pitcher now, but yeah, he can get outs. He can give us innings. It's worth noting that he was in a 6-man with the Angels. I'm not sure how they're going to exactly do that with him just fitting into our 5-man, but he's here. And how do you feel about him?
That's kind of a loaded question. Obviously, I was expecting a higher end starter here, but Noah Syndergaard, when you look into some of his numbers, not as explosive as a pitcher as he used to be, but he's learned how to pitch more than when he was younger, when he was more of a thrower. He's kind of learned to rely more on the ground ball, which we like to hear because we Citizens Bank Park is definitely a hitter's ballpark. You got to keep the ball on the ground to be successful. But I think you're right. I think gut reaction. He's our 4 starter, and it's depth to me. It's depth, and we didn't have to give up a whole ton of a lot.
Agreed. The return going back. Mickey Moniak's time in Philadelphia comes to an end. Former number 1 overall pick. Never worked. Never really saw anything that suggested it would work. Mickey's time comes to an end. Feel bad. I wish it would have worked. I was rooting for him every second along the way, but it didn't. And that's just how it happens. But all things considered, didn't give up much for him. And we have to absorb the salary. From what I hear, it was either prospects or absorb the salary. And I think, Dombrowski made the right move there. You'd rather pay and keep the farm system intact. Yeah, I mean, how would you grade this one?
I gave it a C+, because you could tell he wasn't their top option, and they kind of went after him because they knew they needed a starter, not necessarily because they thought he was the best option for us. And I think where we really messed up here is we didn't get a guy that's under team control going forward, because Kyle Gibson and Zach Eflin very well might not be a part of this rotation next year. We have to consider that. And it would have been nice to see them go out and get a guy like Tyler Mahle or the Rodon everyone was dreaming about, but he doesn't have much control. That would have been risky for us. But Aaron Cervalli and the Zach Plesac's, the younger guys with a lot more control, smaller salaries. But it seemed like Dave didn't want to give up a lot of prospects doing that.
Agreed with all of that. I give it a B-. There's a lot of similarities between this and the Gibson deal. He's a slightly better pitcher than Kyle Gibson, which kind of gives me some resolve. But Dombrowski said that he really kind of didn't think he was going to get a pitcher, and Thor kind of just fell to him. I'd imagine they were in talks with the Blue Jays, probably serious talks, and it didn't end up working out. And this kind of felt like a consolation prize. He wasn't the guy, but he ends up just falling to us, and it works out. And with the Eflin news, just the ongoing Eflin news, the knee and everything. I want dependable innings, so I guess I'd rather have him than not have him. Big personality too. He definitely demands like a clubhouse presence. Hopefully that meshes well. I'm sure it will. There's really no talks of him being a bad teammate or anything, but he is a big personality to absorb. Yeah, I don't know. B- did the job. I think that's kind of where we'll leave it at that. Real quick, I think it's also important to talk about the deals that kind of didn't happen.
Okay.
What point did you think we were getting Carlos Rodon? How close do you think we were to it?
I thought we were getting him the whole time. I was fully bought in. I thought that we were going to have the big three, but yeah, it sounded like Mick Abel was their breaking point.
From what I hear, I read up on a little bit today with the Athletic. Matt Gelb wrote a terrific article. The three guys who they were not willing to give up were McGarry, Abel, Painter. I'm a little surprised with McGarry, but Dave was not budging on McGarry for anybody he saw available. That includes Tyler Mahle. I know in the Tyler Mahle talks, they wanted McGarry. We kind of tried to, position them to take Logan O'Hoppe, and they were not biting. They wanted McGarry. So Dave drew a line in the sand, and he said that's not going to work for us. And that's kind of the moral of the story here. That limited who we were able to get. Obviously, the Giants. That's a little rich for a rental. I know Carlos Rodon is team option, but he's probably not going to pick it up. That seems like a move where if you're like let me come up with a good example. If you're like the Astros or somebody, and your team can very well win the World Series this year, and Carlos Rodon gives you, if you get a Carlos Rodon, you're the World Series favorite. That seems like a deal that team does. I know we really want to get to the playoffs, but the team's not that far off anyway, and I think the goal here is to be just good enough, not great. It would have been a really, really rich asking price, and I'm glad he didn't do it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, it would have been an exciting idea, but there was no guarantee that we could extend him and that we'd have him for more than 2.5 months. So I think it was the wise decision to lay off of him and go with a lesser option because we don't want to mortgage the whole future. We've been doing that for too long.
So we were connected to Rodon, Tyler Mahle, who ended up going to the Twins, Eovaldi, Rich Hill. I'm just scrolling through it now. We were asking about Brett Phillips. Michael Taylor was mentioned several times. Jose Siri. The names go on, and I just think it's very interesting how we ended up settling. I think those three starters. That they were the difference between us getting Thor and us getting an ace. Like you said, I'm happy with the way it worked out, all things considered, and after hearing about what it would have cost to actually acquire it. But that wraps up trade deadline talk. You have anything else you want to cover regarding any of those trades? Any trades we didn't make?
I was a little surprised that Michael A. Taylor didn't go anywhere.
Taylor's a good one. Contreras is a good one. How did they not trade him?
Felt weird. It was weird because everyone was saying, they've been giving their goodbye interviews and everything at the end of the game, crying and everything, and then they just didn't trade him. I don't know.
Yeah, it must be so frustrating rooting for those indecisive franchises because say what you want about Dombrowski, but he's very decisive. If he wants to do something, he'll do it. Other notable stuff. I don't think the Mets did anything crazy.
They got Darren Ruff.
Darren Ruff. I guess he's the DH. Is that the only trade they made? I can't think of any others.
I think it was.
Yeah, that's crazy. I
thought
they would
maybe a reliever that I'm missing, but I think just Darren Ruff.
That's crazy. I expected more out of them. The Braves, they put in some work. Iglesias, late inning reliever, bunch of outfielders. Robbie Grossman.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, just subtle moves. They know what they're doing down there. So that's gonna be fun to see us playing them the rest of the season. But now we get to deal with the Nats, who are just they got nothing now.
0.
Yeah. Definitely have to take advantage of the games against them. But got anything else?
No. The Braves game today was awesome. It was good to see Nick Castellanos pick up the team and give us the lead with that home run. That was awesome.
Oh, that reminds me. Shout out Alec Bohm.
Yeah, give Alec
That
Bohm a
guy
shout out.
quietly turned into the best hitter on our team. I wasn't paying attention, but I look up and the guy's hitting 300. And I don't
I
remember
know.
when it happened, but he just strung together so many 2 for 3, 3 for 4 games that he's turned into just like an incredible contact hitter. I wish the power was more. Kind of sitting around like 20, 25 extra base hits, and we're into August, which is not great, especially when you consider Austin Riley had 26 extra base hits in July. So that's kind of underwhelming, but big hits, putting the bat on the ball, which is huge, 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 huge for Alec Bohm. And I mean, we're one mechanical adjustment away from a 330 homer hitter, and I'm so happy we did not trade him.
No, that was probably our best decision, holding on to Alec Bohm. He's going to be a star for us for a long time, and that's a happy birthday to Alec Bohm too.
Happy birthday! He's turning 27, 6, 7.
One of those two.
Yeah, one of those two. But that's Bohmy. Gene coming back tomorrow, so
Yep.
I don't know. We're gonna learn a lot tomorrow in terms of
tomorrow we'll have Syndergaard on the mound, Bradona Marsh in center field, and Gene Segura at second base.
And hopefully Bryson Stott at shortstop.
Hopefully, cross your fingers, folks.
Hopefully,
man.
but yeah. No,
What do you
tomorrow's
think? Actually, I got one more question for you. Do you think there's any chance DiDi Gregorius gets designated for free agency?
Yep.
Even with that big contract?
Yeah, I think by him designating Odubel and Familia, two guys earning, I mean, Herrera was earning nothing. He probably should have gone a long time ago. But Familia got like I think $6-7 million, not inconsequential money. So he, we swallowed that and we moved on from him. There's not a role for DD on this team anymore. Most of Phillies Nation would agree with that. The at bats need to go to Bryson Stott. And that's all that you can say about it. I mean, it's not like the guy can play other positions. He can't. It's not like he's a super good defender. He's not. He's so expendable now, and I know Thompson probably agrees just based off of what he's seen. It's up to Dombrowski to determine if he's going to even leave it up to Thompson to decide that, and hopefully he just makes up his mind for everybody, and Didi's time is coming to an end. He's batting, I want to say like 212 with 1 home run. That's insane.
Yeah, that can't. I know Bryson Stott's hitting like 199, but he's got 7 home runs this year, and he has shown us that he's getting better and better every month.
Yeah, Stott needs to have those at bats. It's interesting though because Hall's up here to fill Bryce's void. So he's not the best candidate to get rid of when Gene comes back. He's up here for his bat, and it's not like we're getting Bryce Harper's bat back. We still need that DH type hitter. So I think that he's like should stay. And
I agree.
We're playing a lot of manager here, a lot of general manager, but it's just so clear to me. I don't know.
Well, I think we're gonna learn about a lot of these decisions very soon as Gene and Bryce come back, and we'll see how it shakes out.
You're right about that. I'm sure we'll have plenty to discuss next week, but let's take this moment to announce that we here at the Double Switch Podcast, as well as all of Pixhawk Media, are excited to announce our partnership with thesportdisplays.com. Sport Displays are the creators of their unique product, the Jersey Mount, which can be installed to any surface and is significantly cheaper than the hundreds of dollars it usually costs for this type of quality display. Check out the link in the description and make sure to follow or use promo code PICSWAP at checkout for 10% off and free shipping. So definitely check that out. As you guys probably know by now, I'll say it again. We're on YouTube, so you could check us out in visual. We're also on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Give us a follow on all of that stuff. And I don't think I've said this before, but if you listen to the show and you like it, give us some feedback. We're trying to provide whatever content you guys want. We take all that feedback, we consider all of it, and we kind of just want to provide the best product we can. We're here to talk Phillies and also here to provide entertainment as the season goes on. So yeah, any criticisms, appreciate whatever you guys can give us. And like I said before, we partnered with Pick Swap Media Group. Awesome stuff. They're putting out YouTube, Spotify, podcast videos. I believe we have a new Eagles podcast coming out, so give that a follow. I know the Eagles are right around the corner, and Sixers right behind that. So good time to be a Philly sports fan. Definitely give us the follow on all those different sites and everything. And like always, thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Yep. Take care, guys. Go Phils.